convergence is the coming together of two or more people or ideas. When you look at the past 50 years, you can see this convergence happening everywhere. The Uni Party is an example of that convergence. The way unions and businesses agree on issues, the way the media and the universities seem to be in lockstep with each other, how nothing today is controversial unless they agree that it's controversial. One of the reasons I'm writing this is because of this article, Monopoly, an overview of the Great Reset, Follow the Money. It points out so much of the economic convergence, that 9 media companies control most of the world's media, that Pepsi and Coke both own large amounts of shares in each other, which means that they win no matter what drink you buy. Of course, they also have investments in other companies, so producing and selling something is only part of how they make money. In fact, it's possible, at least theoretically, for them to produce nothing and to still make money. We have also seen the convergence of political ideas. The 1980s was when it started to come into view. In fact, I first heard the term the Uni Party back in the late 1980s. In Australia, it didn't matter who you voted for, you got exactly the same thing. Of course, that exact same phenomena was occurring everywhere in the West. But I think the real sign of how things have changed is in the unions and how the attitudes of both government and business changed. Strikes are quite rare today, not quite extinct, but rare. In the 1980s and before, strikes were everyday events. Every single day, someone would be on strike, and industrial relations were major and constant news stories. But between roughly 1985 and 2000, the unions were brought under control. Trade was liberalised, strikes were made harder, immigration and feminism ate away at the traditional relationship between workers and the union, and university education produced a new type of union leader. The new leaders had more in common with the people they'd gone to university with than with the workers they represented. Government, business, unions, education, and lots more besides, have all received the same education, from kindergarten to postgraduate, a system that trains people and encourages them to think and act alike. That continues in the workplace. Everywhere, the same intrusive laws apply. Those who rise up make sure that they support the system, the convergence. Each part of the convergence covers and protects other parts of the convergence. The media uses academics to support their position. Academics use the government to support them, and on it goes. So attacking one point is useless. In fact, it can often encourage convergence because they can see that they need to strengthen their position. Over time, even those areas that seemed outside of the system, the churches, charities, private business, have been converged. Money is the first point of call. It uses its corrupting influence to break down barriers. I'm not talking about bribery. Sometimes it is that crude, but mostly it's about encouraging the right behaviour. Churches don't want to lose their tax-free status, so they bend. Charities see government dangling big money in front of them to deal with a problem that they want to be involved in. Business at every level wants to make money, and often they will do whatever it takes to be allowed to do that. Then they come to regard that as an integral part of their business. The often complex relationship between government and business entangles both in a web. International organisations and agreements also push this convergence. Everyone should be able to buy a Big Mac anywhere they want and have it taste the same. What is called trade equalisation, which means the removal of trade restrictions, the levelling of everything until you can move people, money and goods from anywhere to anywhere. Of course, the world of entertainment also does its job. In many ways, it kept that idea alive when it had mostly died in the early 20th century. Entertainment is a universal language. It breaks down barriers and encourages cooperation between peoples and countries. But of course it spreads the ideas that they want spread. Entertainment is propaganda, and it has been for a long time. To give just one example, since 1970, adultery in movies is never condemned. As the old saying goes, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Billionaires get richer, and today that also includes large corporations and charities. Investment funds, superannuation funds, all fuel this. The secret is that they're not using their own money. Every woke organisation is doing it with someone else's money. As the economy becomes owned by fewer and fewer, the wokeness will increase. What this all means is that things are going to get worse because there's no easy way to reform the system that we live under. No reform can force through a big enough shift to make things better. It also means that when we attack one part of it, then the other parts will defend it. I'm not saying that everything is hopeless, but we must face the fact of what we actually face. This will end if the system ends, which the massive debt is leading to, but it will only fail if there is an alternative that is ready to take its place.